All right, over at KTAR.FM, here's how the Big Q reads. The Phoenix Union High School District wants to place teachers in training into their own classrooms in as little as a month. Are you okay with this? As a parent, yes or no? 62% say no. Can't blame you. Yeah, I don't like this. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and if you don't know what we're talking about, it is Phoenix Union High School District. Obviously, we have a massive teacher shortage in Arizona. We don't support our teachers. Our government doesn't. It's always a war on teachers. Some people run and they say, listen, if a teacher does something, then let's put him in jail. Well, you remember that law that was tried to get passed. But we've got a lot of vacancies. So how do you fill them? Well, Phoenix says, let's just put, maybe put somebody from, I don't know, right up the street, put him in to a classroom. It only takes 30 days.
Well, they got to have a bachelor's degree because what was the Ducey had one where as long as you had a X amount of years in a certain profession.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
But it's
because what's a good example? If you were,
so let's say they had a shop class and so they taught you how to be a mechanic and stuff like that. Yeah. You owned a mechanic place for a while.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, in theory, you could easily teach that. I would hope so.
I don't know, actually. I know you know what you're doing, but can you teach it to somebody else? That's a skill.
Probably in an amazing way, you could probably teach it to somebody else. Would they get it, though? That's a different thing.
Right.
If you just because you write books and maybe you're a published author and you're very successful.
Doesn't mean you can teach.
Doesn't mean you can teach people.
Right. So this idea is if you want to be a teacher, you go through some sort of a course for 30 days, and then you're in a classroom with 40 kids. And I don't know who in their right mind think that's going to work out. Maybe you get lucky with a couple of
sure
people.
You will.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. But I think the majority are like, okay, do you have any idea what you're doing? If you've never been in a classroom, I'm not really sure you can handle it. Do you know how to? Do you know anything about class management? Do you know how to write an IEP? Even if you specialize in some subject, that doesn't mean you can actually teach it.
Yeah.
And so, we're always trying to find like a way to get people to teach. It's like, what was the other story? Hey, let's give you a little house. Well, how little? Well, it's like the size of, I don't know, your palm. But you can live in there, and you can live across the street. It's one of those tiny houses, where you got the bathroom, which is the same thing as the living room and the kitchen. Oh, my God.
Gaydos is always like they don't separate them. You actually have to pee
you have to urinate.
Sink
no.
while you sit on the stove.
There's a toilet, and it's in the kitchen, but it's also in your bedroom.
It's not a tiny house.
It's a tiny house.
But they're trying to get that, $7,000 pay raise at least, for some of these people. I don't know if that'll ever happen because
I don't know if it's any good.
We don't know if it's any good. And secondly, would somebody not vote for it because, I don't know, their party didn't come up with the idea?
It's so true, dude. It's so true.
Reagan said it best. Imagine what we could get done if nobody cared who got the credit.
It's right. Yeah, we talked a little bit about a possible raise for teachers. What was it, 7%?
It's 7%. Okay. It would take you over to $60,000.
Right. And Republicans have that idea, but they're not. Here's the problem. I don't know if it's good or bad. I really hope it's great. I hope it's great. The Democrats will just shoot it down anyway because it's not their idea. They can't give a win to the Republicans. Oh, we couldn't let the Republicans try and help teachers make money. The other part of it is I don't know if it's any good. There are a lot of people saying that in the end it'll take money away from the classroom, and so I'm sitting here like I don't know who to believe. I'm not really sure. I think a 7% raise
always
sounds
takes
pretty
money
good.
away from the classroom. But then I always said everything takes money away from the classroom. But we never ever get past the arguing of. So-and-so came up with an idea, then the other side says, well, that's obviously a bad idea. Right. Then they argue and it disappears.
But then you look at, like, Governor Ducey. He never would have paid teachers if they didn't go and sit on his lawn for a couple days. Never would that have happened. So it's like, we can't even come up with a good idea to improve teachers' lives, their salary. It's almost like they have to force it if you look at past history here in Arizona, the Red for Ed. So I don't know. I do know that I don't like this idea from Phoenix Union High School. And I think if you're a parent and a teacher, supposed teacher, had 30 days to learn how to teach your kid and then is all of a sudden given 40 kids, I'm guessing that the majority of you, I'm not going to say all of you, that's kind of crazy. The majority of you would say, no, I'd rather have the other, let's say it's fourth grade. No, I'd rather have that other fourth grade teacher who's been there for 6 years or 16 years. Do you really want a teacher that's just figured out the job?
But if the choice is, hey, we're going to have 60 kids in a class, or that teacher that has been there 15 years, well, guess what? You get her, and so does everybody else in the school.
I know.
So, I mean, at this point, we might as well just build one of those old schoolhouses, like Little House on the Prairie, and everybody can congregate together.
Don't start in Little House on the Prairie.
Phenomenal.
It's one of my favorite shows.
I want to go back to a simpler time, is what I'm saying.
I do, too. Oh, that Nellie Olson, she drove me crazy. I
Man,
couldn't stand her.
She's I mean, as bad as she was, TikTok insanity. She's not any of this crazy stuff we see. She's not going to park her buggy out there so you can't pass the road.
But that Nellie Olson drove me crazy. Willie, I couldn't stand Willie. All right.